Hi, people of YouTube. It has been a while, but here I am back again for another video. I'm very late with this one. I actually wanted to upload it at the beginning of 2024, but somehow this month just flew by and now it's already almost over. But here I am, and I wish you all a late happy new year, and I hope that you all landed well in 2024. Today's video might get a little chaotic. I might go a bit all over the place, but bear with me if you enjoy. I want to recap my personal 2023, what, the main topics, the main themes were in my life. But I also want to talk about this one story, this one headline about the Peruvian village being threatened by these weird alien type beings because what I perceive from there is actually quite messed up. It's really fishy, and it was pretty much the only disclosure or like alien story that really got me in the last year because there were, as we saw, like there was some sort of a public disclosure from the military, which I feel like it's not a bad thing, but this is as much as they will talk about on the mainstream media, and at least it's something, but I didn't really proceed to kind of follow with that whole military disclosure thing. Instead, I got a little bit hung up with that Peruvian village story. I mean, there were other sightings, but this was the only one that really intrigued me, that kind of made me feel like it's worth looking at it. And yeah, what I get is actually maybe something totally different than everything you've heard before. Take it with a grain of salt, but I do want to share that. And then I want to share what I feel kind of coming, or what has been already rising up for 2024. And then I also want to share my personal favorite crystals to start out this year because I have been getting much more back into crystals again. Sometimes I take a little bit of a break. I do love to work with them, but not all the time. Like sometimes I need a little bit of a break and I don't really wear them or work with them or have them around me too much. And then I just get back to it as soon as I feel like it's calling me again. And that was the case. And I want to share some really cool crystals. Um, and also, I will try to remember that I want to mention the Rainbow Bridge. You have probably heard about the idea or the concept of the Rainbow Bridge, how it's mentioned when we pass on, that we cross the Rainbow Bridge to get to the other side. Because the other day I had a really cool conversation where that came up. So yeah, a little bit all over the place, but let's start out with my 2023 and the main topics. As you have noticed, I haven't been uploading and I haven't, engaged in any kind of spiritual conversation on Instagram either. I am not very much of a social media type anyway, but it did have a reason because I had a little bit of what I would call a spiritual bore out in 2023. And it kind of also correlated with just events that took place in my life that did require me to kind of come back to earth a little bit more and live more of this 3D earth life. And I don't think that it was a bad thing, but with the spiritual bore out, it did feel like almost a blockage that prevented me from just wanting to engage with anything or listening to any more stories, and following up with content that is created out there, because I just wasn't interested anymore. I got to a point where it could have been some overstimulation because I have been just very much into my own personal development, but also spiritual learning and spiritual growth in the past, what I would say 3 years. And that was like my main thing. So I spent a lot of time just contemplating and healing and going back into the shadows and returning and seeing what I could, get from it, what I could heal, what I could release, what I could learn. And the consciousness kept kind of expanding, and I was totally just into the world of spirituality and esoteric, and kind of neglected the real life that we are actually here for, that is really important. And 2023 kind of helped me with that in a way, and I realized that sometimes we can get to a point of just having seen enough of a certain thing. For me, it was very much just the spiritual content that is out there. There was a lot that I used to really enjoy and follow, but it kind of felt like stories are repeating, the same topics are repeating. It's like the biggest content creators out there almost seem to copy each other, and just it's like one picks up a topic and then everybody kind of chews on it and gives it their own flavor and throws it out there, which I don't have a problem with that. I just didn't feel the need to kind of follow up and take it in anymore. But yeah, it also felt a little bit sad, because it was the main focus of my life in the past 3 years. And then it was like, well, it kind of sucks to get to a point where you feel like, you know what, nothing actually matters. And I just have to figure out a way for myself to be who I am and live my spiritual side, but also not, expecting from myself to kind of make it look or make it fit into this whole spiritual community, if you want to call it that, that is in the public. Because the thing is that I don't really resonate with anything. There's no, movement. There are no strict practices that I follow. I just pretty much do my own thing, in whatever way I feel about doing them or not. And I kind of had to learn to be okay with not meditating every day, not feeling the need to always cleanse everything out of my field. And actually, it was quite the contrary. I noticed that, at least for me, the more I kind of expose myself to environments and situations and people that are heavily loaded with quite negative energy, the less I feel the need to clear out every shit, because that's what actually strengthens us, at least from my experience. And most of the things, not all of them, but at least some of the things actually clear themselves after a while, especially if there's not really anything that the energies can attach to within my own energetic makeup. Then certain things we move through will just hang around for a while and then kind of slip off, or just hang around without really bothering. So yeah, I kind of started to distinct between what is actually or could be damaging, or what feels bad and really has to go, and what things are absolutely harmless and kind of normal to, it's normal for everybody to pick up on stuff that we move through. We move through the world, we interact with people, and it's kind of impossible to always be energetically sterile. I guess that I did feel the need to feel as if it is required to always be energetically sterile when you're someone who works with energy, and especially with clients. I mean, of course, I cleanse myself in my space and create a sacred space as I do certain spiritual work or healings, but not for my day to day life anymore. It's like I guess I could relax a little bit. So yeah, that was one thing that I was working through, kind of learning how to think and feel about the fact that I might just not really care about spiritual content out there anymore, and not trying to find anything that I resonate with, because I came to the conclusion that there's nothing out there. And I can imagine that there are some some of you out there that might feel the same. And I just want to say that you're not alone, and it's not like you have to follow anyone or feel bad about not following someone you used to follow just because you don't resonate with it anymore, or just because you're not interested anymore. It's nothing personal, and I'm not mocking creators out there. It's just that, it is what it is, and it's okay. Um, yeah, another big thing that I experienced was, I guess, somewhat of a reawakening of my feminine side, of that being open and receptive and vulnerable. It is something that I guess I had shut down for the past 3, 4 years. And I was okay with it. I was aware of it, but it was just really intense to notice what reaction it caused as I started to open up again and being ready to, be vulnerable and open up to someone and trust. Because all it took for me was just getting to know someone who I get along with really well and who I started to really grow more interested in and wanted to get to know, and also wanted to open up and let them get to know me on a deeper level. And I started to perceive this, or I started to really kind of have this physical sensation in the left side of my body that felt like pins and needles, kind of waves of pins and needles running down the left side, but also kind of numbing in a way. Um, and at first, I was a little bit worried that it could have something to do with my migraines, or that it could be neurological, because it could be. I do have migraines, and I was a little worried that it has something to do with that, and that I might be, I was kind of on the lookout for something to get worse, but I really didn't want to manifest that. But in the end, it really turned out that it was about the left side, it was about the feminine side, and it was about reawakening or opening that side of me up again that was really numb and kind of hardened for the past few years. And I'm kind of, I have to say, I'm proud of myself that I was capable of opening up and overcoming my fear of being that vulnerable. It was a big topic in my life, also in my environment. My sister got married, and there was just a whole lot of just love in the air, especially the romantic type relationship stuff. And it was something that I have been avoiding for so long. And at first, it was a bit overwhelming because I just thought that everybody's acting cheesy. And now, me too, when I start to have feelings of my own, and, but in the end, I came to a point where I feel fine and I feel comfortable and confident to express my femininity again, and open up and receive. And I do enjoy it and everything that comes with it. So I'm grateful for that. And the other thing, yeah, was the discovery of Amanita Muscaria, the fly agaric, as a really powerful medicine, especially when it comes to the migraines for me. And I'm not recommending anyone to try it out, but for me, it was a great revelation, just to find something that really helps me to relieve the pain and actually all of the symptoms if it's prepared and dosed properly. So I started to already kind of learn about it and look into it back in 2022. I kind of made contact with the mushroom. I took one from the forest home with me and just started to just hold it and kind of feel the energy and see what happens, and started the communication back then already. And it was a very gradual and slow approach to, finally getting to a point where I am ready to even ingest it as a tea. But first, I created my own oil. You can look it up. There's a Russian pain oil that is made with Amanita muscaria that has been used for all sorts of issues and pains, especially, and neurological stuff as well, for so many years. And it was just not a mushroom that was in my life before in the same way. So it's a highly, highly interesting being. It's a very powerful spirit to work with. and I got to know it better, and I'm very grateful for it. And once I did have a deeper experience than I meant to, because I accidentally overdosed my tea. So usually I take very, very small dosages when I have a migraine, and I was still figuring out my dose. So I took too little, and it didn't really help. And so I thought, okay, next time I have a migraine, I'm going to double up the dose. But I accidentally took 4 times as much, and I ended up tripping. And I guess, I would say I handled it well. At first, it was a little bit of a shock because it came in really strong, and it's not like your psychedelic magic mushrooms. It's very different. It's a totally different experience. And so it was a little overwhelming in the beginning, but I realized that this is going to last for like up to 24 hours. So I better find a way to feel okay about it, and I did, and it was a very interesting experience. It is truly the dream mushroom as well. So I mean, the dream realm has been really, really active, not just for me, but especially this winter. I would say since December or so, dreams are just so vivid, and we dream so much every night. We just experience so much there lately. But with the Amanita, it's like it becomes clearer, and it kind of feels like I have more dream time than I usually do. So it doesn't necessarily feel like it doesn't make my dreams more vivid, because they are very vivid as they are, but it feels like they become longer, or like the dream time becomes longer. Um, and once again, I don't recommend anyone doing that, but for me, this is some good stuff if it's, prepared properly and properly dosed. And I'm really grateful to have found that. Um, oh yeah, one more thing I wanted to mention about 2023 was that it was, in general, a very kind of physical year for me, and I noticed just even stronger than before how much we heal and clear through the body as well. Because I don't usually get sick, I don't usually get the flu, but in 2023, especially the last month of the year, so December was the year of the flu and the sickness for me, and it kind of made sense because I mean, winter and the darkness and the cold is the time to, you know, go into some shadow work, look at the darkness within as well, and handle it and just deal with it. And I did, and certain things just began to clear on their own during the year, and it felt like there was just an accumulation of all sorts of things that manifested as flu and as sickness. And I also had the measles. I didn't officially have it diagnosed by the doctor, but I had all the symptoms and I treated it on my own. And that was kind of a weird experience. It came in with a real darkness that kind of triggered my own inner darkness. And then it was like the toxic side of myself and all the aspects of myself that I am not necessarily aware of, or that I kind of try to grow and try to work with them, just came up and showed up. Um, and it also made me actually like fall into the lower astrals, which was a little concerning because I haven't been there in many years. I am familiar with the lower astrals, um, and I didn't end up there for a long time, and it was just kind of weird to feel like I didn't really had the the strength to kind of influence my vibration to a degree where I didn't end up there. So I kind of, hung around in the lower kind of disturbing realms. But I came out of it, and what I noticed was that it did really help to clear stuff out. Things that have been bothering me and probably holding me back energetically and physically for many years. And I noticed how the more physical a clearing gets, the more actually efficient it is, which makes sense. I mean, we have a physical body, and of course, it can be absolutely very beneficial to also only heal and work energetically and in the higher realms and dimensions. But in the end, I feel like as soon as it actually reaches the physical body and shakes that through, the more efficient it actually is. Um, so yeah, that was a noticeable thing for me. So let me tell you what I perceived with that Peruvian alien threat that was even in the mainstream media. I think it was in June, if I'm not wrong, but it was someone around then in 2023, and that was actually the story of the year for me that actually made me go, wow, there's actually something going on besides all the, I don't know, like spy balloons or other UFO sightings and official disclosure attempts going on. This was what really got me. And what I actually perceived from it, as I was talking about it with a friend of mine, and she was like, when you look into it, what do you perceive? And I'm just going to pretty much repeat what I told her, is that I have no doubt that this is real. I have no doubt that the people of this village are actually experiencing that. Um, and to me, it does feel like a being of some sorts, but I see it just as this suit that is like, I don't know, technological, high tech, super crazy, maybe alien technology stuff, but the inside, like when I look at this being that is threatening, is there's actually nothing there. There's no one there, and yet there is. It feels almost as if it's a captured sort of, maybe not consciousness, but in sentience, you could say, or the essence in some way, or like a copy of the consciousness of someone. I don't really know how to put it into words, but it does feel like a fraction or sentient type of a thing, that is remote controlled. So it's like it's stuck in this suit and it kind of moves the suit, but it's being remote controlled. And I feel like it's being remote controlled by humans. I get a very kind of sciency experiment type of vibe, and a very dark one. Um, and take it with a bag of salt if you want to, because this is just me, like just me freestyling, looking at it, and I perceive a whole story. So, you know, I feel like it could be some sort of an experiment from scientists from somewhere else. And I don't mean alien, but like from another version of Earth. It might be the future, I'm not sure, but I kind of get a certain vibe, or like a messing with time space, and especially like time kind of vibe. And okay, I'm just gonna say what I actually believe might be going on, is that these scientists that came from whatever reality, whatever version of Earth, came in with the purpose of experimenting with the technology that they have, which I don't know, is this suit with the captured sentience or consciousness in there that they have control over, and they want to see what they can do with it, and see, how they can work with it, or whatever, with in an environment like this. And I just think it's really messed up. It's almost as if I imagine how in their version of Earth, they are not transparent either. So it's like a very secret type of thing that they had to do somewhere else. And because they are further advanced, it's like maybe some of the officials or whatever from this Earth who know about this and agreed to this, received some sort of technology, or there was some kind of deal so that they could do their experiment. And it's almost as if these scientists from this other world believe that, or the way that they can sell it is, that officially and in theory, where they are from, this world is purely hypothetical. So whatever damage they do, it's as if it doesn't really count because it's only speculation and it's only hypothetical. It's really weird. I don't really know how to put it into words, but this is the vibe that I get. And yeah, I just really find it messed up that the people of the village are completely left alone. There's no military helping them. There's no government helping them, and that is really that's fishy. So I believe that something of that nature could be going on, and I just hope for the people that they will be left alone. I didn't really get into any updates, but I hope that we will be updated. But most of all, I hope that the people can find peace and somehow heal from that experience. Yeah. So let's get into 2024. Yeah. 2024 feels different. It feels, at least to me, it feels a little lighter. Not that 2023 was necessarily a super dark or super shitty year, but I really want to just get into more of the positive or interesting things that I perceive that are going to happen in 2024 and that we can already kind of see or maybe perceive. But I can tell that there is just such a strong longing for change that the human collective has. Like it's almost as if we are waiting for a spectacle or for something to happen. And I also feel like people actually want to experience full alien disclosure. Like they want the landings and they want the aliens to step out and come out and talk to the people and be like, yeah, 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 we're actually here. And I don't think that this is going to happen. I did hear about certain people mentioning that when they look at 2024 that they think it's going to be the year of full disclosure and that the aliens are going to reveal themselves and say hi and have a smoke or something, but I really don't think so. But I can tell how there's the need for something like that, or just the wish for something like that to happen. And it's funny because if I look at my environment and just the people around me that I have contact with on almost a daily basis, something is changing about the way they react or act on things. Um, I can see how people are just changing their behavior and the way they react. And it's not in an egotistical way, but it is in a way of like standing up for themselves and feeling better about themselves, not agreeing to things that are damaging to them or that they don't like doing anymore, and really just taking action in a different way. It's kind of hard for me to pinpoint exactly, but some people are really changing their lifestyle. Some are consciously removing people from their life that they just don't feel, fit right now, or that they don't vibe with, and actually just expressing that. So I think this is something that really started in 2024. And it's funny because I perceive it visually in a way. And I think that this is a thing that is available or that is happening actually to everybody, not just those who, are more aware or more sensitive to whatever energetic input there is. Maybe it's just that we are actually like, as we are moving through the universe, we are like moving into this territory where this is suddenly a thing and this is available. I see it as this kind of bluish, light bluish, very bright light stream entering through the head and out of the right eye that makes people react differently. It's almost like corners of maybe not only their brain, but it feels like areas where the light didn't reach before um, are actually kind of reached by light now, which triggers new kind of reactions. And I really feel like it's the case for everybody. I guess it also has a lot to do with the phenomenon of mass awakening that is an ongoing thing. But yeah, that's how I perceive it. It's like people are reacting differently because whatever stimulus there is, whatever triggers, whatever impression is just being processed in a slightly different way, which causes people to react just slightly differently. So I wonder if you can perceive that or if you have that as well. I also feel like it is really the year where many people are going to be able to finally make the changes in their lives or about themselves that they have been kind of waiting for or just haven't taken action because they felt stuck or kind of weren't capable to do so. I think that the changes are just easily going to happen. Also because we perceive things differently, process differently, and act differently than before. That kind of broadens the spectrum or whatever in which we move in this world. Um, so yeah, I feel like this is a little bit of an evolving effect that we are experiencing, which is nice. And another thing that is also going to happen in 2024, I don't know if you have heard or read about that, there's a comet that makes its rounds and it's going to get really close to Earth again, I believe in summer this year. I'm not even sure if it's the same name in English, but in German we call it the Devil's Comet because it used to look as if it had two little horns, but they have eroded over, I don't know, over time, but they still call it the Devil's Comet. And I just wanted to kind of feel into that guy and see what it brings. And it's funny because for me, it comes in with a kind of a sharp energy. It's almost like I perceive a sound and like a greenish, really sharp laser type energy. I can't really tell what it is going to cause or what the effect is going to be on consciousness of the people, but what I see happening is some sort of a like an activation or a reaction in Antarctica for some reason. I don't know what it is, but it feels like there is a frequency that something within Antarctica kind of resonates with that. Um, and it almost feels like this, and it's only going to be like a short event, but something is triggered down there. And I feel like when this happens, there's going to be some sort of a reaction on Earth. I wonder if we are going to feel something or if just like I think that the atmosphere would just feel it will feel a little different again. It's kind of like these days where you wake up in the morning and you go like, huh, was this always this color? Or like, did my neighborhood always look like this? Like weren't the angles a little bit different? I was like, you can't really tell what it is, but it's just like something feels different. Almost as if maybe, you know, you're in a slightly different timeline or something like that. It's like there's gonna be some sort of a wave that comes through that creates some sort of a little shift in just the energy and the atmosphere. I don't know how else to describe it, but I'm looking forward to that. Um, and also let me know what you experience as the comet is coming closer or what you get from that. But yeah, that's something that I'm looking forward to. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think that 2024 isn't going to be such a bad year. It's going to be very chaotic, of course. I mean, we see how, especially politically, things just keep boiling up, and I don't really see that calming down too much in 2024. Although I do feel like maybe there's something in October or so where something feels a little more peaceful, as if maybe there could be some sort of an agreement being made that helps to calm the situation down a little bit. But other than that, you know, eyes on the sky, eyes on the weather. I think it's just going to continue to be strange and not very natural. Um, I hope that the The microphone didn't pick up my phone because it sounds like a fart every time I receive a notification. Mm, sorry about that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. What I want to share about 2024. And one more thing that I wanted to get into, just because I kind of like the idea of that rainbow bridge. We had a conversation the other day, or rather, a couple of friends and me had a ceremony that was led by one of the friends in the Astros. So we met on Zoom and did a little really nice ceremony. And many of us were talking about, or kind of a couple of us were talking about perceiving all these colors during the ceremony. And then we started talking about that rainbow bridge and the whole idea of those who pass away have to cross the rainbow bridge to get to the other side. And I find that kind of a nice symbology to what I can imagine is actually quite accurate. I feel like there is this kind of rainbow bridge because many of us perceive energies and like different kind of layers, if you want to call it dimensions or just spectrums and layers of realities as colors and different kind of frequencies. It can really show up as colors, and I feel like this is a very common thing. And I feel like this is probably where this concept actually comes from, because as we are in a state of heightened awareness, or just in a meditative state where we are more available and receptive to perceive more of, that spectrum, it's like it opens up and then we can see the rainbow, and really all that there is between us and the astral realms and the other realms and the other side and God and everything is just like moving through these different kind of wavelengths and with their own frequency and their own spectrums, and it can totally be perceived as this rainbow, which I kind of really find a nice symbology for that, because it makes sense. But I wonder what your idea and what your perspective is on the Rainbow Bridge. But I can imagine that this could have something to do with where the concept even comes from, because it, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so before I end the video, I just wanted to share my personal favorite three crystals that came to me in January 2023. So I bought those recently at the local crystal shop here, because it was just one of those days where I woke up and just realized that, wow, it's time for new crystals. I mean, I have a bunch of crystals. I have many rocks and stones that I collect, but I just felt like, okay, I need new ones. And I went to the shop and actually really resonated with three of them that have been working with me and that I have been carrying around a little more lately, and noticed how they really supported me just to begin the year and really kind of close 2023. And one of them is the heliotrope. I hope, yeah, it is. So it's basically green jasper with hematite, these little red spots. It's also referred to as the bloodstone. So it's really good for anything blood related, blood flow, anemia, stuff like that. But it's also a great crystal for the immune system. So this one really helped me to recover from all of the flu and all of the measles stuff and to support me. So I didn't feel sick at all since the beginning of 2024. And I feel like this one really helps me with that. It's a warming, yeah, it's a warming feeling. So it's really cold out here. I really enjoy when I can hold something that makes me feel warm inside. This one does it. And it also works with the lymphatic system. So it can help to promote that lymphatic flow. And I like to use it to just sort of massage my limbs a little bit. Really nice for that. It also helps with protecting against nightmares. I read about it, and so I wanted to try it out. And since the dreams have been really crazy and active lately, sometimes to the degree of really becoming a bit too disturbing, I tried this one out, and I have to say, every time I sleep with this one, I don't have any kind of weird nightmarish dreams. So maybe there's something to it. I do feel like there's something strengthening. So it could also be that it strengthens the intentions that we have. It feels stabilizing, and of course, it's really great for the lower chakras and for grounding and just anything blood related. So this has been one of my absolute favorites. The other one is onyx. It's one of my has always been one of my favorites in general. I don't know if it's coming into focus, but it's just really black anyway. Um, it's said to be a rock that works with the ears. And I do feel like it opens something up about the ears. I don't know if it's just that maybe the hearing becomes a little more sensitive, but it's also said to be really well for if you have ear infections. So I do feel like it does something with the ears, but I also feel it in the eyes. And I don't really know that maybe it's just this particular piece. I don't really know that they necessarily generally work with the eyes, but when I hold this one, my vision becomes a little clearer, I would say. And it is a very protective stone as well. So if you feel the need to kind of shield yourself a little bit, I do feel like it is a little bit shielding, almost as if the aura becomes just a bit harder to penetrate and maybe even a bit harder to perceive. Mm. And other than that, it's really good for the digestive system. It helps with the digestion and also with grounding, also very much lower chakra stuff. So I do feel the soles of my feet kind of tingling and warming up when I hold this one. Definitely really helpful. And the last one that I want to talk about today is this one. This is oh my god, I'm sorry. Let's see. Lizardite or lizardite. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Lizardite. It's a variety of serpentine. And this one just helps to bring in a little bit of, I would say, a little bit of light, a little bit of positivity. It helps with regulating moods. So if you feel like you suffer mood swings a lot, I really feel like it just brings positivity. And it also helps with the thoughts. It feels like it brightens the thoughts, promotes the positive thoughts. But it's great for detoxification. So if you are on detox anyway right now, I feel like this is a great support. But otherwise, it also really supports the natural processes of detoxification through the liver and the intestines. And the other day, I had a really kind of impressive experience that made it one of my favorite crystals for right now. As I had those in combination. I was in the bathtub and I had the onyx in my belly button. And at first, I had the lizardite right over the liver, where it also feels nice. But then I moved it down towards like the sacral region and the lower belly. And in combination with this one in the belly button, I had a really strong, what I really think is a detoxification effect. Yeah, I do even feel it now. I begin to sweat. I just begin to sweat, and it's almost like this, like this pull downwards. It's like it's pulling the bat soup out and helps it to, be ejected. Feels really nice, but also a bit strong. So if you are sensitive, just notice how strong they can be sometimes. And I also think that they harmonize perfectly together. So this is a beautiful combination. If you happen to have the heliotrope and some onyx and some lizardite around, just try it out, see how they work together, see how they support you and strengthen you, and let me know. And on that note, I'm going to leave you now. Thank you so much for being with me. Thank you to all those who are subscribed and who are liking my videos. I really appreciate you. If you're interested, I still do private sessions. If you are looking for a little bit of assistance with your personal or spiritual development, if you would like some spiritual or like energetic healing and counseling and clearings and stuff like that, I totally still do that. The link is going to be in the description. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye and see you soon for the next video that is probably going to be about the crystals of the month in February 2024. All right, take care. Bye.